ambitious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United!
Wood's got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and it's time to review Rotherham United's cup run in the FA Cup for the 25-26 season. And it was a short one, as expected, sadly. We're going to talk about the Swindon game, but back to league action on Tuesday with Burton, so we'll have a chat about that later on as well. Steve's back with us. How are you doing, Steve?
Very well, thank you. Good evening to everybody.
Good to be with us. And Mick is back from a car park in North Wales. How's it going, Mick?
It's all good, mate. It's a bit dark here now.
I can imagine.
I prefer it in summer.
Just a moment.
You chose to go there, but let's move on quickly. You users with us. Another 6-6. Every evening, everybody. We hope we've got some centre halves for Tuesday. Didn't want to go to the next round anyway. Chris Page says, hi, all. Missed the chance to keep the momentum going. Richard says, evening, all. Christmas shopping on the 6th of December. Thanks, Millers. Kelleth Bubbles, evening, everyone. He missed too many chances first half. Philip Ox is with us, as is Darren Cook, Steve. Sarah says, evening, all. And Seth says, hi. Another year of an FA Cup defeat. Harry says, evening, and really looking forward to the 26-27 FA Cup run. I as well. Paula said, I take it we're cancelling the Wembley bus. Well, we've got two more Wembley trips, you know, the playoffs and the virtual trophy. So don't cancel all your trips. There's still two to be had. I'll come to you first, Steve. 2-1 defeat to League Two. Bearing in mind the circumstances, which we will obviously come on to with the injuries and everything else, it still hurts a little bit that we just can't seem to get over the line in this competition. Year in, year out, we seem to be kicked in the gut a little bit by it.
It's almost stopped hurting nowadays, you know, because it's happened for so long. Yeah. I actually can't remember the last time we won either a third round match when we were Championship or a first round match since we've been here. I remember going to Anfield in 2002, maybe.
Well, yeah.
I think we got the fourth round that time, and then didn't we the year after have a possibility of playing Man United and then stank the place out against Northampton. So it gets to the point where I don't even bother with them. I really don't. But it does have that pang of real disappointment, you know, yesterday afternoon when you find out that. So after extra time, you can't even force a penalty shootout because, frankly, if we'd have gone penalties, I would have put my money on Cameron Dawson to get us through. But yeah, it's really sad that we have to think, well, we're not going to go through in the cup anymore. We're not going to bother with it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, well, Paul Rigby, 1 year we'll go on a cup run just so I'm around to see it. We're all feeling that's important.
Well, it's getting a little bit late. Oh, I'm 64 now. I'll be 65 this time next year. And, you know, the way I feel, you know, I might not be around that much longer.
Yeah. Harry says, technically, our unbeaten run is still going as it was a draw. That is technically true.
Yeah.
We're technically 7 games unbeaten, even though we're not. You know, anyway, yeah. But Harry says, we made it to extra time. Count that as a cup run. It lasted longer than it lasted 30 minutes longer than our cup run normally does.
Or 40 minutes, to be fair.
Well, 40 minutes was that ridiculous injury time he played. It ended up 90. But anyway, Mick, we talked yesterday. Obviously, on the instant reaction, we cut it a little bit short because neither of us wanted to be there because I was annoyed and you were cold, I think. So, have your view changed 24 hours on, or are you still not kind of end of the world feeling?
No, not at all. It was the result. I'm not too concerned about. The performance in the second half is concerning, definitely. But it's caveated by the fact that we'd got half the team were juniors, half the team were academy graduates. Some of them were quitting themselves really well, I felt, given the lack of experience. But the overall performance in the second half, basically, it was another game of two halves, wasn't it? Swindon were absolutely dreadful in the first half. They were awful. and we should definitely have been 2 up, arguably 3 or 4, with the opportunities that we created. And it turned full circle in the second half. They were by far and away the better side in the second half. We were dreadful, and it was always going to be a, who's going to manage to nick one here, because otherwise we could have been playing forever, because there was just zero quality on the pitch, so or zero quality being created. So whatever. I don't care in terms of the cup personally. That's just my view. I'm not saying that that's a fact. Just before anybody picks up on that, but the level of the performance, particularly in the second half, were very poor.
Yeah, absolutely. Phillips says we have too many poor 45 minutes.
That's the problem at the moment, definitely.
It is, yeah. When the team got announced yesterday, Steve, when you first look at a team sheet, you scan, don't you? You scan, look for numbers starting, you scan this. And I looked at, that's a really, really strong team. He's got Martha, he's got Nombe, he's got all these other players. And then I went back and read it, and I realised there were no centre halves playing. And I didn't click until the second thing. And I'm thinking, is he resting players? Is he not taking this seriously? And we find out at full time that 14 players are now found themselves injured. It's just a wild set of circumstances, because 2 or 3 days ago, literally 2 or 3 days ago, we were all saying, because Matt Amshaw was saying in his presser, that everything looks a lot better, and now everything come back to being the way it was injury wise. It's a disaster.
Yeah, I only scanned it because I didn't go, so I saw it on my phone, and I saw your comment, and I thought, yeah, that looks relatively strong, but I didn't notice at that point that there was barely any centre halves or defenders, and there were a lad on the bench. I didn't even recognise his name, and it was only after the game that I started to understand that we had player after player out. I mean, Jules and Baptiste are apparently having scans. Lenny's still not fit. Sharif came on and then went off again. And it's like I said the other day, almost, it was referring to Nombe. It's almost when one of our players puts a sprint in, you just open and pray, you're not going to hear a ping.
Yeah.
Because they all seem to have tight hamstrings. And I haven't got a clue how or why. I mean, of course, we'll talk about Burton a bit later on, but, it's a bit of a worry. We can't field a bloody team that doesn't contain 3 or 4 young lads who, even though they try hard and they look good prospects, they're not going to cut it, particularly when they're up against the top of the League 2 team, or even a team in League 1. Yeah. So I should be paying more attention to the team, I think, is my personal lesson to me.
Yeah, I didn't even scan the bench. I just thought, it looks strong. I'm not bothered looking at the bench. And I looked at the bench, and geez, there was nobody on it basically. Hadder says, how can so many players be injured at once? We're missing a whole defence. Yeah, Mick, I said to you during the game yesterday, I was simmering with anger because I thought he'd rested all these players. I assumed he'd just decided the cup didn't matter and we were going to rest all these players. Hence why I held my tongue in the instant reaction and waited for the facts to come out, which some of the people maybe should do as well. And then as soon as that comes out, Mick, as soon as Matt Amshaw talks you through the list after the game, you're kind of thinking, wow, it's almost a good... the players that were on the pitch did well to almost get that far. We'll talk about the bad side of things, but bearing in mind the kids that were on the pitch at the end, nearly all the kids acquitted themselves really, really well.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? I think it's almost time we could start calling Ross Burberry names again and Matt Amshaw names for his fitness stuff. I mean, that seems to be where we're going to go next, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not great to have all these injuries. Hopefully, some or all or most of them will turn out to be either not injuries or not too bad, or stuff that can be played through or treated. Hopefully, but the way our luck's gone recently, that probably will prove not to be the case. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I said to you, when that team came out, there were James on there who's arguably, unless you think about Denzel Hall as well, he's the only defender on that team list. It was a worry. It was definitely a worry. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to have to bumble through, aren't we? We've got no choice really, and hopefully get some players, at least one or two, back defensively anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked really exasperated in that post-match interview, didn't he? You know, he just looked as though he thought he'd, run over a black cat, because I don't think he can quite believe it either. That, he keeps getting players falling like ninepins. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see till Tuesday to see how we line up, and then we'll have a good idea of who's doing what and where.
Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, we'll come to Burton in a minute, but it's frustrating because of the last 6 games, when things have been going well, one of the things that's won us these games is Amshaw's ability to change the game. His substitutions have been excellent over these last 5 or 6 games. And if you look at the bench yesterday, those substitutions couldn't really impact the game. And that's probably what cost us yesterday, being able to change the game in 90 minutes and then extra time as well. We just couldn't positively impact the game at all.
No, I mean, we've had a pretty solid spine, haven't we, for the last few games? I mean, Jules has found his form again. Yeah. Baptiste has come on an absolute pace. So you've got a couple of defenders, and then you got Spence and Gore in midfield, for example, and then up front you've got Hugo. As far as you can have Hugo. I mean, yesterday, was it right that Hugo ended up as centre-back? I mean, that's... Yeah. My lads text me and he says, Hugo's gone centre-back. He's been brought on and has gone centre-back. And then at that point, I knew we were struggling. I thought, God, how many injuries we had in the game. But that strong spine is what's got us where we are. And then of course, like you said, with the substitutions, he can tinker it. He can bring Nombe on for a half or for 30 minutes. But he had no options at all, did he? That could come on and affect the game yesterday. None of them. He was trying to plug holes, I think, rather than, creating things.
Yeah. And you've got to give credit to Hugo for doing that and doing it gamely. Trying his very, very best. It's very obvious. It reminded me of last season when we played Hacks at right back. It was obvious he wasn't comfortable. Obvious it wasn't his position, but he tried.
We bought him as a right back. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come on to the specifics of the game, Mick, but I do want to bring this part. I'm not going to criticise Matt Amshaw too much for yesterday because I think his hands were tied behind his back for a significant portion of it. But the Hugo at centre-half bit, Scott Kent says, still don't understand Hugo going at centre-back when he had Duncan. Johnson asks, do we not think Duncan had a great game? We've got a specialised centre-half there, and I understand Harrison Duncan's 17-year-old. I get that. I understand it. But you've got to put Duncan there instead of Jordan Hugo. You've just got to. And then it was justified even further when Duncan came on. He was fantastic. He was probably the best defender of the day for me. That's my probably one, maybe only criticism I have of learning the facts after the game. That's probably my only criticism of Hamshaw from yesterday.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one because I agree with you. Harrison Duncan came on and he looked absolutely accomplished, way, way beyond his years for me. He was excellent, didn't put a foot wrong, and looked like he'd played men's football, for the want of a better term, for years. Managers, certainly at our level, seem very, very reluctant to blood young players of that age. And it seems to be that seems to be consistent. You get it in the Premier League sometimes where younger players get game time and excel, but at our level, for me, in my experience anyway, it seems that they're very reluctant to do that. I don't know whether that they don't want to knock the confidence or what. I don't know what it is. But for me, I thought it was outstanding, really, really good. And I'm really surprised that he didn't just bring him on when the other lad went off. It was a surprise, real shock. But there you go. I don't know. He will have his reasons, won't he? Whether we agree with him or otherwise, you could argue, and you would have to argue, and he would argue that he's more experienced than us and he knows what he's doing. The result.
I'm guessing that's the reason. I can't think of any other reason why not.
Well, maybe what Bobs has just put there as well.
He did play 90 minutes on Wednesday, and he played 90 minutes Wednesday before these injuries came in, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he came on quite late. He didn't come on till just before extra time.
I mean, it's not unprecedented, is it? I mean, Matt Crooks was played at centre back one game, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And we got Dick we lost that day, didn't we? And if you go back in time, we bought John Dungworth as a forward, and he ended up right back. But as I say, I can't really comment yesterday. He just from a logical point of view, I think that was it. He just preferred to put experience on, and I don't know. It's just balmy. All fell apart. He looked a mess from where I was. Just what was going on. So,
what I would say about Duncan is that performance should solve a little bit of a problem for Tuesday. Because if we are really, really down to bare bones, and if we haven't got Reece James, it was only 20 minutes or whatever it was, I would be more than happy to see Duncan get an hour on Tuesday against. He was, like Mick says, he was really, really comfortable. But anyway, we'll maybe touch on that a little bit later on when we talk about the Burton game a bit more, Steve. But let's talk about the goals. Sam Nombe with the first goal. He's done really, really well. You've seen it back, whereas me and Mick haven't. We at the time live, I thought the keepers had an absolute stinker. Is that fair, or should we be giving more credit to Nombe for the finish?
Well, I don't think it was I've seen it twice, and I don't think it should be. We can't say it's a stinker as such. He should have done better. The commentators always say he should have done better with that because he was on his near post.
Yeah.
I mean, Nombe's the way he wriggled through and then pulled out and got a shot off was excellent. So, the keeper probably should have done a bit better, but I wouldn't call it a stinker. But it was an excellent move from Nombe. Everything that he's about, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely, Mick. And to be fair, I think we talked about this on our group chat yesterday, where I think he set up to try and blow Swindon away, and because of the circumstances, I think it was the only thing he could do. And by rights, we should have blown Swindon away. Nombe has had that chance on his left foot, which he's just got to hit the target with. So he's done really, really poorly there from a fantastic position, from a wonderful ball from Dan Gore. He's had that header as well, which has come across from as well. There was so many other opportunities to put that game to bed at half time, and then the plan looks fantastic because we should have blown Swindon away by that time, but those chances weren't taken, and by Nombe as well.
Yeah. I mean, what else can I say to that? You've absolutely nailed it there, haven't you? We had the opportunities to put the game to bed by half time, and we didn't take them. And the way we're playing at the moment, where we can't string more than 45, 50 minutes together, when the chances come, we have to take them. And we got what we deserved, I guess, ultimately. You create those opportunities. The second one, the one that hit the bar, the header that hit the bar, swap him around with Jordan Hugill, and that's it, nestling it back at net, that's no criticism of Nombe. It's just that's not his bag, is it? That's not the way he scores his goals usually. It was a great header. Unfortunately, he just couldn't keep it down because he's not quite tall enough. We got to take your chances. Yeah, we all know that. I mean, that's just it's a good old fashioned football cliche, isn't it? And we fell for that one yesterday, big time.
Yeah, we did. You did, absolutely. But the positive to take away from that, Steve, is that we were depleted significantly. And this is Swindon, who are a decent team. This is not bottom of League Two. They're second in League Two. We were still able to put them under significant pressure for half a game with half a team almost. So although it's a massive negative, we didn't score 2 or 3 chances, it's still a massive positive that we were able to create a bucket load of chances.
Yeah, because we've got good footballers. Yeah. It's just that we can't keep them fit long enough to show what they're about. And 45 minutes, I guess, before, it started to fall apart a bit, I was confident that we would actually overcome it. I was getting regular texts saying we've gotten pushed back all the time. We just can't take our chances. But yeah, credit to us again. we can do it for 45 minutes, but how often have we done it for 90 minutes? But there's always a reason, isn't it, really? Well, most times.
Most of the time, yeah. Yes, I said to Mick that this is too good of a performance to be 1-0 at half-time. It had to be more than that, and Swindon couldn't have had two halves like that, and they obviously didn't. They stepped up significantly second half, Mick. The second goal of the game, but obviously Swindon's first goal comes 15 minutes from the end, maybe a bit earlier than that. It just looked like a team that was playing without a defence, an organised defence. Something we've been really, really good at over the last 5 or 6 games is we've been really structured at the back, really, really strong, really sensible. And it was just a mess. Hugo was all over the place. Hall probably one of Hall's worst games for us yesterday, actually. I thought it was a bit of a mess yesterday, Hall. But it was just a complete mess. They had a couple of opportunities and eventually Ola Palmer's put the ball away. It was the best way to describe it is it was just a mess.
Yeah, it was. You had a couple of opportunities to get rid of it. You put your foot through it, put it in Rose's head, put it into empty stand or whatever, and we didn't do that. And Hugo got caught like Raggett Wood, turning like an oil tanker. And
he couldn't catch him, could he?
He couldn't. He were never going to get anywhere near him, were he? It was definitely a centre forwards attempt at being a centre half, that weren't it? And it's not a criticism of him. That there's no way that he's going to beat anybody for pace. So yeah, it was just poor defensively. But like you said, there were no defenders there. Well, arguably, Denzel Hall was about the only one left. I don't know whether Reece James was still on pitch at that point. He can't have been, can he? Because Hugo were back there. So, it was literally a goal conceded by a team that didn't have a defence. The dictionary definition, if there is such a thing.
Probably not. They're probably in. And when it gets to that stage, bear in mind the players that are then on the pitch for you, you're kind of thinking, God, it almost felt like you need penalties at that point. You're either praying for a moment of brilliance from a Dan Gore or something like that, or you're just playing, get us a penalty. Like you said earlier, just trust Cam Dawson to get there, because we just didn't have the players on the pitch to attack a decent team.
I mean, to be quite honest, it was only after the game that I realised and understood what kind of a mess our defence was in.
Yeah.
Or throughout the last 20 minutes, and we actually got to extra time, and I've seen the winning goal as well. And I think one of the things that really rankles with me is that we gave the Swindon Town fans a right good day out.
Yeah.
Because there's some guys posted a video of Oldacre. Is it Oldacre who scored the winner? And it was a good strike. And he just says, "Oldacre, you sexy bastard." And I thought, no, I want that joy, not him. But yeah, that one as well. We couldn't get the ball away from what I could see.
Yeah. And
then it fell to him, and then really tasty strike from him, frankly.
Yeah. They had that quality being off the bench. Even with 10 men, Mick, they obviously got sent. Dan Gore managed to get one of their players sent off on the stroke of full time, which was beautiful to see. Complete head loss by the Swindon player. But you wouldn't have believed it. If you watched that 30 minutes of extra time, not knowing that it was 10v11, you wouldn't have thought so, would you? They just had that extra. They had that experience, didn't they? The word is experience. That extra experience that we just couldn't match them with.
No, I don't agree with that. No, I don't think it's all to do with that. I think what it is the fact that we just refused to want. The ball were like a hot potato as far as we were concerned. We went back to we just don't want to keep ball. We don't want possession of it.
But that's the experience, though, isn't it? That's the experience.
Well, it's not their experience, is it? It's not their experience because we kept gaining them.
Yeah, but they had more experience when they had the ball. They were better on it because they had that more experienced players.
But they shouldn't have had it, and that's my point. We just weren't able to maintain any sort of possession whatsoever. Nobody there to hold it up. There were no movement off the ball. It was just a second half performance, particularly as it wore on, that lacked any sort of composure, any sort of confidence, any sort of anything. It was just really, really poor. And they did well. They moved the ball well and everything else, but we gave them. We gave them that opportunity and we allowed them to play like that.
But who was the leader on the pitch for us?
Hugo.
Well, there weren't one, were they? Because there
No,
were
exactly.
older-
So he's surrounded by young'uns, isn't he, Hugo? I mean, Dan Gore, beautiful footballer that he is still only 21. He's only started to play first team football properly this season. So you look then around the team, and who else is there? I presume Nombe had gone off by then.
Yeah,
Sharif had come on for I don't know how long, and then went off again.
Yeah.
And you look at the defenders, they're all young lads. I mean, I agree with Matt that our lack of experience fed into their experience. It has to. Because you think about what happened in the first game of the season against Port Vale, where our structure suddenly deteriorated in the second half. We just couldn't get the ball because we kept giving it away all the time. And that is one thing that Matt Amshaw has got to sort out at some stage, is that we have too many of these where it all falls apart. The structure falls apart. We get scared of the ball. But that's probably a little unfair on the players that ended the game yesterday because they didn't have the experience to do it. It was man's football.
Yeah, in a reasonably high-pressure situation, you got a set of away fans who were roaring their team on because they could feel it coming on, and the home fans getting a bit nervous because we had no players on the pitch that we kind of recognise. It was a bit of a perfect storm. Chris says 3-3-3 and midfield pushed up, knowing that we couldn't hurt them going forward. So yeah, it's allowed them that give them an extra impetus. Although you're right, Mick, we didn't look after the ball. We absolutely didn't for most of the game, actually. But there we go. Mick, we mentioned Dan Gore yesterday. Is there anything else you want to pick out? We've mentioned Duncan as well. Is there anybody else that deserves a positive mention from the game yesterday?
No, not really. I mean, Cam Dawson pulled off a few decent saves, and he didn't have any chance with the second goal. I would argue he could have probably done better when he came out for the first. It felt to me like he did that good old came rushing out and then stopped too early instead of closing the player down. But yeah, I mean, he had a decent game, Cam. To be fair, other than that, no, I don't. I think there's a few worthy of negative mentions. Perhaps I thought Johnny Martha is. I see a bit of an issue with him. He's a wonderful, wonderful player. Don't get me wrong, but when the chips are down, I'm not convinced he's got the right mentality at the moment. Again, age is a massive thing in this and experience. So it's not a criticism of him necessarily. But I feel that, like I said, when we're not playing with confidence, when we're not playing particularly well, his shoulders drop and maybe Teddy comes out of that cot a little bit. I think he's a player that is only going to thrive and show his absolute class in a team that is playing with confidence. So I think that's something that shines through for me. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's how it feels. Denzel Hall, like you say, wasn't his usual self either. Joe Powell, again, I know he's playing out of position, but his deliveries were poor again yesterday. His ability to find a man at times let him down and let us down quite a lot. So, yeah, very little positives, but other than the ones we've talked about, very little.
Richard and Scott say Hamish Douglas played well until his entry kept Palmer in his pocket. Yeah. He's one of those players that looked constantly uncomfortable, but was obviously comfortable because he managed the game really, really well. Because he's so tall, it just looks a bit, he just looked good, but he did keep Ollie Palmer very, very quiet. Paula Rhodes mentioned the 46, which was Dean Garner, came on. Yeah, he came on 102 minutes.
Some pace, that lad, hasn't he?
Yeah, full of pace, willing to run the channels and everything else. He was pretty good, actually. Jack Holmes did all right as well when he came on. I think that's fair. He certainly tries, Jack Holmes, doesn't he? He certainly puts it in, which is...
he does, doesn't he? And then he gets in a promising position in 18-yard box and he looks to find a pass instead of putting it in back at net.
He could have nailed one yesterday, couldn't he? We're around an angle. He should have just nailed it.
I don't know why that is, but that seems to be an issue that he's got. It will open up for him, And instead he looks for the pass. I don't know whether he just thinks that I'm a winger, so it's my job to assist. I don't know, but put the ball in back at net, lad. You know, you've got he opened up on angle at 18-yard box. Just put your foot through it, mate. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Right, Rob Dixon says, given what he had at his disposal, Matt Hampshire put his eggs in the game done by half-time basket, and it didn't work out. He didn't manage the game that well, in his opinion, with the starting 11 and subs, Steve. I respectfully disagree on that one, because I think it was the right thing to do, and the game played out that way. Because if Nombe takes those two chances, one of those two chances, it's 2-0. And then that probably leads into 3-0 and 4-0. We just didn't take his chances. And that's, for me, that's not on Hampshire. That's on the players not taking their chances, which happens from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, probably Rob has a point. But there again, what would you have done differently to start the game? I mean, I have to confess that I wouldn't have put Hugo on. Yeah. But I can't think of anything more different. When you look at the subs bench that he put out, what else could you put on there to make it work? And I do agree with you that if we'd have put chances in the first half, if we'd have been 3 or 4 up at half time, then we'd have gone through to the next round. It might have been a bit scary, but when you think that we played 45 plus 30 is 75 minutes with young'uns on, basically, and people injured. Yeah. The fact we only conceded 2 goals is some kind of modern miracle, frankly. But I don't know. You can criticise, I'm sure, but he did what he thought was best with what he got.
Yeah.
And I think the main problem is what is happening to the players, and I don't think anybody knows, and I don't think there's a short answer to it either.
No, they're absolutely no. It's frustrating. People ask about Gardner. He's a winger. We think he's a winger, as best we can tell. So yeah, Ginger Davis and Sheriff was only going to play 30 minutes. Let's talk about Sheriff briefly, Mick. I don't want to dig this out too much, and I'm certainly not digging Hampshire out. I'm certainly not digging the player out himself, but this management of minutes is becoming a problem for us, to be honest with you. You bring Sheriff on, which he came on 58 minutes, which takes you 90, which I assume would have been the agreed 30 minutes that Everton would have asked for. You've got to keep him on until the end, but you can't be subbing players on to sub players off again. These games matter. It's an FA Cup game. It's a meaningful game. That's a problem for me. If Everton are being kind of really strict on that, that's a real problem for future games.
Yeah, it is. It is a problem. However, we have got no opportunity. We've got no choice but to do what these parent clubs say, and then we're all making the assumption that
we are.
That's what Everton have said. Yeah, and it does certainly seem that way, doesn't it? He's coming back from injury. He only needs 30 minutes, no more. You will have to assume that's the case. And to be fair, he didn't pull up any trees when he came on, did he? His touch was almost Tom Eaves-esque at times. I'm sorry, Tom, that's not fair, is it? But his first touch wasn't great. But again, we've seen before, he's not a player that you can play on his own up front. That's not his game. No. But we had, again, no choice but to do that. Unless you play him up there with Hugo and put a central defender in central defence off the bench. That's the other option. But yeah, the 30 minutes thing suggests that that's come from Everton rather than... I can't see Matt Hampshire doing that out of choice. He's not going to do that out of choice. He's going to be amazed if that's the case.
Yeah, look, he's Everton's player. Everton can do what they want, but I don't think that was good for Martin Sharif to come on and go off. I just don't think that's good for a player to do that in any circumstance.
No.
But Everton are no better than me, I suppose. Is there anything else we want to talk about from our fantastic FA Cup run, or should we move on to a more meaningful competition?
Nah. Leave it. Let's put it behind us. Let's put it behind us. I'm sure social media will be alive with Sack Matt, I'm sure, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and all the other insults that came out previously. Now we've lost the game. They'll be coming back out from people who don't know how to lose. So.
And he'll have learned from yesterday. I'm sure he has. The point that Rob made earlier on about, he didn't manage it very well. Probably got a point. He didn't manage it probably as well as he could have. And he'll hopefully learn from that.
Yeah. He's learned from his, so far, he's learned from his mistakes. He's showing he's learning from his mistakes so far.
So he can make mistakes as well. He's the manager. I mean, we've had another 2 managers sacked in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, give him.
That Wolves manager's just signed a new contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, 5-year contract.
In September. He must be laughing all the way to the bank.
Easy money.
Oh, mate. I tell you what, it's a weird profession, isn't it? Where in any profession you don't want to get sacked, but as a football manager, you almost want to get sacked because it's like you sign a contract for particularly Premier League for however many millions of pounds, get sacked after 3 months, and you're away. You're made for life.
Postecoglou, wouldn't mind being him.
Yeah,
bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah. Even the guy at Southampton who's just been sacked. I mean, he would have signed a 3-year deal maybe to get him to come from France, and he's lasted whatever it is 3 months.
And you think you just, I mean, I know this is digressing slightly, and Tony Stewart gets criticised a lot, and I understand that, and I understand people's opinions and everything else, but can you the chairman of these football clubs? What respect do they have for money in any way, shape, or form? Where you can sign somebody on a £3 million contract for over 3 years and then sack him after a month. I've got £3 million quid here. No, take it, mate. Don't worry about it. See you later. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre set of circumstances. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's
good.
We do.
Liam Richardson's got himself a job, hasn't he?
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah.
We play him in 3 weeks?
I don't know whether we were still paying him, weren't we?
Probably. No one knows. I think we're still playing Matt Taylor, Liam Richardson, and Steve Evans, I think.
What's the pay?
Yeah. We'll come on to the game in a minute. I just want to say very quickly, congratulations to Victor Johansson and the Johanssons in general for the birth of his second child. Congratulations. He had a good week, Victor. He had a kid earlier on in the week and then Stoke going 5-1 on Saturday. So he's not had a bad week, has he?
Clean sheet, though, did he?
Didn't keep a clean sheet. No clean sheet.
Yeah, he'd be fed up with that.
Yeah.
He couldn't have done anything with it, though. I saw the goal this morning, but yeah, congratulations, Victor.
Get yourself together, Victor. Come on. Not good enough, mate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Let's talk about the Burton game. And I'm going to run you through the injury list. I'm going to run through a squad and we'll see what we've got available, shall we?
Oh, God.
Both keepers are available. Tom Holmes, not available. Zach Jules, probably not available. Sean Raggett, probably not available. Jamal Baptiste, probably not available. Lenny, not available. Hamish Douglas, probably not available. Johnny Martha should be. Reece James might not be. Denzel Hall should be. Joe Raffett is back, should be back. Marvin Coletta won't be playing. Sean McWilliams, Liam Kelly, Drew Yearwood, Dan Gore, Joe Powell should be fit. Kean Spence, Josh Benson probably will be fit. Jack Holmes should be available. Tete is obviously out injured. Sam Nombe, Jordan Hugo and Sharif are available, but Josh Coyote is not. That's too many, Mick. That's too many people not available.
God, yeah. That's frightening, isn't it? Oh, can you imagine walking into your office if you're Matt Amshaw on Monday morning and thinking, right, I'm going to pick a team. Well, I've only got 11 fit players, so that's my job done for the day.
Can we go for a postponement on the basis that we're all cropped?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one for him, isn't it? It's going to be a tough one. It's good news that Sean Raffett is back. Joe Raffett is back. That's a positive. I listen, Harrison Duncan. I know what people have said. You don't want to put a get him in. We've got no choice, and it'll make or break him. It won't break him, I'm sure, you know, the lad looks like he's full of confidence, and I'm not convinced, even if he has a particularly bad game, that it'll knock it that much. And if it does, then, you know, he'll learn from it. So he looks quality. You know, I hate to agree with Steve Evans, but yeah, Steve Evans said he was, and then refused to do up with him. Well, Matt Amshaw obviously sees the quality, and he's brought him on an FA Cup tie. He's acquitted himself incredibly well, and we have nobody else. So you know, give him his head and let him play. Let him play. Let's see what happens, and that will take away at least one of the headaches. You would hope, anyway.
Harry says Hall, Rafferty, and Duncan in the back line. What could possibly go wrong? But I think that's a reasonably solid back three there, Steve. I mean, Duncan's your natural centre half, so I'd be tempted to put him in the middle. But Denzel Hall's shown already he can be solid. Against Barnsley, he was very, very good at right centre back and has played other times very well. Rafferty was poor against Barnsley, but in other games has been excellent at centre back as well. And like we mentioned, Duncan looks like it could be a player as well. So it's a disaster in terms of injuries, but there is a fix there, not fix, but a plaster to put over the wound there a little bit maybe.
Well, it sounds like him. I've never seen Duncan. All I've Mick, you know, Evans talked about him last year. I mean, maybe he didn't use him last year because he was only 16. He's a year older. He's got a year more under his belt. But when you think we don't have any choice, frankly, do we? Because we haven't got any central defenders apart from him. So unless he's going to do something daft and start Hugo there, you're struggling, aren't you? You've got Hall and Rafferty. Then wing backs are going to end up being McWilliams and Powell again.
Yeah.
You've got Spence, Gore, Martha, Yearwood's available.
Maybe Benson.
And Benson, maybe, if Benson's fit. But again, I mean, he's been out for a game or so, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So he'll manage to put a team out. We're going to have nothing off the bench, I don't think.
No.
I think he'll start. When did Nombe go off?
An hour. He got an hour out of him.
He had an hour. So he started him and played him an hour. So you never know, he might do 75 minutes Tuesday. Yeah. It's whether he plays him up front with Hugo or he leaves. I can't see him leaving Hugo on the bench either because he's an experienced player. Maybe he'll play a different formation. Maybe. Who knows?
Possibly. He should, yeah. It's one of those times that we may be sitting here Thursday going, he should have played another formation. But so far, he's stuck with it. He's stuck with it so far, and it paid dividends in the end of his last 6 games. It did pay dividends. He's done the right thing.
There's the makings of a team.
Yeah.
You know, but absolutely nothing on the bench. I mean, Jack Holmes on the bench. I mean, if that guy, what was his name? Gardner,
yeah.
If he looked, I'd just put him on the bench. You know, you've got to put them on so that they can come on and try and affect the game a bit later on. Yeah. But the injuries are just horrendous.
Yeah, it went from being okay to being disaster within the space of a day.
Well, it's like what happened last week. Did we on the piss on Thursday night? Came back in Friday and then fell over.
Paul Rhodes, Canny's a tall lad. Can we maybe stick him in defence? Why not?
He don't move very well, Paula. He doesn't move.
Paul Rigby says all these injuries. I think Steve Evans is sticking pins in the Matt Amshaw doll, which is possible. I said on Twitter earlier we may be cursed. We just maybe time to look at that as a possibility and see if we can get somebody.
As I said earlier this season, we may have to use the 4 corners of New York Stadium tactic. I'm quite willing to do that. my bladder will work.
Hadders says shocked Coyote and Raggett are injured for a change. The Raggett injury doesn't sound that bad.
Oh God!
If he's not fit for Tuesday, Matt Amshaw said if he's not fit for Tuesday, he should be fit for Saturday, which is Lincoln. And then we've got an international break probably after the Lincoln game. So we've only got to get through 2 games with the squad as it is. The positives, Nick, is the rest of the team. You've got if we're assuming Spencer's back, if we're assuming Kelly's back and Benson's back, which sounds like it probably is, that's real options in that midfield. The downside is Dan Gore, for example, who was best player on the pitch yesterday, he's played 120 minutes on Saturday, which he shouldn't have to. Extra time shouldn't have been there. It's ridiculous. But something like Dan Gore, you've then got to be careful with Dan Gore because he's had injury problems in the past, and you don't want to run him into the ground too much. But we're kind of stuck because he's so good for us. We are, and I am not advocating that he is dropped in any way, shape, or form. But Drew Yearwood has been very, very, very good in that position. And whilst he isn't of the same quality, I don't think, as Dan Gore, he's not. He's quite clearly not. He would be a very suitable replacement. I think he's done really, really well. So I can't see Gore getting dropped for the time being, particularly if we can get this international break, if we can get the players called up, which might not happen with Lenny's injury. No. So that might be an issue, and I think we spoke yesterday that Luton are probably saying that they won't have any players or enough players called up to allow the game to be cancelled either. Yeah. So that might be an issue, but hopefully that's one to worry about in the future. Yeah. I can't see Dan Gore getting dropped. Can you? I just can't see that.
I mean, it's like Jofra Archer bowling 40 overs in an innings.
Yeah.
You know you need him. But, I mean, to be quite honest, Gore seems to be the only one. No, I'm not going to say it here. No, I'm not going to say it.
No.
I think he might be tempted to just put him on the bench and then bring him on second half if it's going pretty poorly. I don't know. Two minds. I'd love to. I'd start him. I'd certainly start him myself. But you got it in your back of your mind that we don't want to lose him either.
No.
Relatively speaking, and I use that term advisedly, relatively speaking, we've got an embarrassment of riches in the midfield area.
Yeah.
We're not bad off in any way, shape, or form. So, but that doesn't help us. It doesn't help us in any way because the areas where we are short, particularly defensively, none of those embarrassment of riches are in a position to help us out there.
Yeah.
Powell's played left wing back, and I don't, whether he don't want to play there or whether his inexperience in that position is beginning to show a little bit. I don't know. But again, we ain't got anybody else who can play there at the moment. So it's defensively that's going to be the issue.
Yeah, it is. Just on that, Harry says last time Luton had 4 players but won't get one called up for tomorrow. I spoke to a Luton fan who said that 2 of their 4 players aren't scheduled to have games this international window. So they're probably only going to get 2 call-ups, probably. And if Lenny doesn't get called up, or Denzel Hall's move to Jamaica doesn't get put through in time, we won't get 3, which probably means the game against Luton will be on, which we were all hoping for a free weekend from an injury perspective. But I think we'll find out this week coming. I think it's the international will get announced in the next few days. Like Mick said to me yesterday that maybe we should ask Scotland, just please call Lenny up. He's injured, but call him up and then just send him straight back. It'll be fine to get getting called off. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. In terms of midfield, Steve, Mick mentioned about the embarrassment of riches. It then becomes a good question of what do you do? Do you play the 4 in midfield where Nombe can be up top on his own, Benson and Martha behind him like we've seen in the past? Or do you play Hugo? But then the question mark on Hugo is, again, he's just played 120 minutes a few days ago. And we are really rinsing minutes out of Jordan Hugo at the minute. Could you maybe rest him, for want of a better word, while we have those midfielders to fill in?
I'll probably leave him on the bench and have him come on later on. I'll put Martha behind Nombe. But again, how many minutes are they planning to get out of Nombe? So it's one of them where, again, it could risk starting to fall apart in the second half when changes have to be made or are made. Again, it depends on Benson being fit. Yearwood is fit, isn't he? Gore's fit.
Yeah.
I'd risk playing Benson and Yearwood. But there's a question of Gore isn't there, then who drives the team?
Exactly.
Because none of them drive the team like him. But there again, he's a beautiful footballer, isn't he? he's head and shoulders above most players that we see on a Saturday when he's on form.
Yeah.
You can tell he's class. So I'd certainly play somebody behind Nombe. I'd start Nombe up front, and I'd have Martha coming off the right hand side behind him. Gore in front of the back 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, and Spencer Yearwood maybe, and I'd leave Hugel on the bench for an impact.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, you're right on Gore. It reminds me a bit of, but remember when we went up in COVID, how important Barlas is. A very different player to Barlasser.
Yeah.
But everything went through Barlasser. When Barlasser was missing, we then became a real shadow of the team. At the minute, it feels like Gore's having that kind of impact on the team that if he does go missing or does go injured or whatever, then I agree. Where's the drive coming from? Rob Dixon says, if memory serves, but don't Burton have some attacking wide players, wing backs, so I can see Powell and having some work to do on Tuesday. They caused a lot of problem out wide last January. A lot of problems. On that, we've done the scouting report. That's out tomorrow. That's with Edward from the Brewers Babble. He's going to talk you through Burton. They had a really comfortable and easy 6-0 win on Saturday. So they didn't have to worry about extra time or a disappointing defeat, which is annoying. Mick, what would you do in terms of attacking midfield? Sorry. Sharif will probably manage his minutes, so I'm going to assume we can't start Sharif. So it's going to be a question of, do you start Hugel or not, is for me the only question. I think Nombe will be pushed for more minutes. So what would you do in terms of Hugel or not?
I'd put Hugel on the bench because much as we've sung his praises over the last few weeks about his work rate and everything he's done, he's not been effective in front of goal. I'd have Nombe playing 90 minutes. I'd start with Sharif and Nombe up front because it gives you a hell of a lot of pace. And then if we're managing Sharif's minutes, he comes off, and we play two behind him with Martha and or Benson or Spence, or you bring Hugel on for the last 20, whatever. But I'd give him a rest after the 120 minutes of the day on Saturday, and also because he's not been effective in front of goal, not even come close. I mean, he scored on Saturday, but that was disallowed for a blatant push. That disallowed goal kind of sums up where he is in terms of goal scoring at the moment. It was a poor effort all round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure tried to say that wasn't a foul. After.
I'm sorry, Matt.
I don't know about if the replays show it, but from where we were sat, he put two hands in the face of two players looking at it. Yeah, one of those where he looked at the player, put his hand in his face, and then had a ball. It was a blatant foul. But again, if the cameras don't show that, then Matt, I'm sure, is not necessarily going to sit back and see it the same way, is it? But it was definitely a foul. I agree. So let's see what happens. Look, this is a Burton team that are 20th in the league. We know what you're going to expect of Burton over the last however many years. They're generally a second half of the season team. So hopefully we can get something out of them.
They're not a team that we do well against either, are they?
No. 2021 the last win we had.
Yeah. Not that that's got anything to do with this week, but...
you said that. Our FA Cup history had a lot to do with us losing to the FA Cup again. So...
well, it didn't it? It had the history had no impact on what happened on Saturday. That's just nonsense.
I'm telling you, we're cursed, mate. We're cursed. It's just,
we do need to win because I live 7 miles away from Burton.
Yeah,
and I work with a couple of Burton fans, and it's just a bit embarrassing that we never beat them.
So if you're listening, man, I'm sure, for Steve's sake, please win.
Come on. I mean, it took us till pandemic to beat Derby on Derby's ground. I came here in 1981 and it took that long. And the irony was that we weren't allowed in the ground to see it.
I bet you weren't allowed at work to go see your Derby mates to rub the faces in it either because they were in the COVID either. So
how did you guess? Oh, God.
So let's hope we can put that. It's not 4 years. It's not a long time, is it, in football? But it's a
Well, if I have to wait 40 years, I will definitely be dead.
Okay. Referee Ross Joyce is the referee. He last refereed the win at Bolton last season. So Cam Dawson's wonder performance was Ross Joyce was the referee. So let's hope he can give us something to sing about again. Right, let's do some score predictions. We didn't do many score predictions for the Swindon game because it wasn't league.
Let's gloss over that because I got it right. Come on.
Well,
yeah, let's gloss over it. Mate. No, move on.
Yeah, I predicted 2-1 to Swindon as well, didn't I?
Yeah, but it wasn't 2-1 to Swindon.
No, I didn't.
It was 1-1. It was 1-1 after full time, Mick. So you wouldn't have even won anyway.
I'm not having that.
So sucks to be you. Paula Rhodes says, "I've got a bottle of holy water. Might chuck it on the pitch." Don't
get Paula for lobbing stuff on pitch.
Yeah, banned.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. Burton, one prediction, Mick. You went 2-1. You would have lost anyway. But what's your score prediction?
What do you mean? I wouldn't have lost. Looking flipping advertising when it comes out on Friday. See what score were.
It'll say after extra time.
I don't care what it says. It says 2-1. That's what it says, mate, to Swindon, and that's what I said. And I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 to Rotherham on Saturday. I'm sticking with a bit of positivity.
Tuesday.
Keep this league run going.
Are you going Tuesday or Saturday?
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry. In the face of adversity, we're going to stuff it up. All these moaning gits that are saying manager's now out of his depth because he's lost one game in 7. In your face, 2-1 Rotherham. That's what's happening.
Somebody's wound Mick up today. I don't know. It weren't me and Steve, so I don't know who wound him up.
People are tapping on his window in that car park.
Not yet. They will be when they see me when they hear me shouting. Excuse me, are you all right?
Right, Brill and Steve, what do you reckon?
Well, in the face of adversity, I'm just going to sit on the fence and say 1-1. I think. Fair enough. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to pick another one from the comments. Paul has gone 2-0 to us. YouTube says 3-1 to them. Paul says 1-1. Chris says 2-1 to us. Harry says 2-1 to Burton. Rich the Mill says 1-1. We score first but can't hold on. Hadders says 1-1. Miller 66 says 3-1. Miller's Hugel hat trick.
Get in.
David Tracy says 2-1. Harrison Duncan winner. Rob Dixon says, is that an angry car park, Mick?
It weren't until I drove in. As soon as I'm the only person in it, then yeah.
If we win 3-1, I'll walk out into my cul-de-sac in my underpants.
Oh God, no!
I'm going to pick 3-1. I'm going to go with it. I don't need a video sending those, Steve. No, we're all right.
Don't worry, you get a photograph. I'll pin it.
Stevie Mick says 5-1 to the Millers, and Rob says no.
Stevie's been on beer already.
He has. I will probably do. I'll do update the league table, assuming there's an international break. We'll get through the next 2 games, and I'll update the league table so we can see where everybody fits in the league so far. Is there anything else we want to mention? Oh, we'll do the headlines. I asked people for headlines. I always forget this, so I apologize. I ask for them, I look at them, make me laugh, and then I forget to talk about them. So this is me remembering. Right, so we have Bailey Vernon says, another game of 2 halves show that... Oh, that's the wrong one. That was from last week.
Still sounds about right, though.
Right, Chris says, who needs the FA Cup anyway? Richard Etchers, this is my favourite, says, a depleted Millers dismissed by the Rocking Robins. Adam Firth says Rotherham keep their unmatched FA Cup record intact, and Paul Johnson finishes with Millers continue their FA Cup tradition. That's what we have from these weeks. I'm going with Richard Etchers, the depleted Millers dismissed by Rocking Robins.
No, that's too traditional. That's like that could be actually in a newspaper. Nobody wants that.
I like the one at the end. It was ambiguous.
Yes, exactly that.
Fair enough.
Really get a kick out of that one and end. From people who don't know how
exactly how bad we
record is.
Chris Back finishes with Chris Nombe says 2-0. Steve Mick says he's on the 0% mix, so he's not too giddy about it.
Check that bottle, Stevie. I'm not so sure.
Anything else, fellas, we need to mention?
Yeah, get your tickets for Lee McMahon. I know I'm going to keep banging on about this. I'm sorry to be a pain in the backside. Cutler's Arms, 29th of November, after the Wickham game. LPMC plus 2 other local bands from Rotherham. It's going to be a really, really good night. And if you get your ticket before the 8th of November, then you're going to a draw to win a signed copy. Lee didn't say signed, but I'm adding that in of the Milliman EP, which
signed by Millimick himself.
Not signed by me, no.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, get your tickets. You should have given me the link, and then we could have put the link in the show notes and stuff. So next time. Phil says, Philip says, Swindon do it the Hollow way, which is very
nice.
Nice, yeah. See what you did there.
Right, we are done. Thank you all for watching. So please make sure we're now less than 50 subscribers away from 2,000. I think we're 49 away, from it. So please make sure you've subscribed and get your friends to subscribe if they are Rotherham fans or not Rotherham fans. It doesn't matter, just get them subscribed. That we very much appreciate. If you're watching live or watching this after, give it a thumbs up because that helps us as well. There is another episode out. This is day 4 of your 6 episodes in 6 days. So we've got another one out tomorrow, which is the scouting report from the Brewers Babble, as I mentioned. And then Tuesday, we will be back for the instant reaction from the stadium, which will hopefully be more positive than the last instant reaction was. And then we're back on Thursday to review this game, the game on Tuesday, and then look ahead to Lincoln City on Saturday, coming to New York Stadium. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, audio podcast, make sure you follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, whatever it allows you to do wherever you are listening. Thank you very much, Mick. It's been very much fun. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate you for coming on tonight. We will see everybody next time. Thank you all for watching, and as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Here comes for more. 2 for Jepson, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots! Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United!
What's got round the back? And Richie Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favor, drop me off in Rotherham.